A short story about what love is. Why divorce? Part 5. Divorce is a prevailing force in our society. We have the freedom to choose it at any given time in our marriage. Many times, divorce is chosen as an option to get away from the difficulty of making a marriage work. However, many couples who choose to push through periods when they would like to divorce their spouse discover that the marriage gets stronger. But what if you're not one of those couples? If, by chance, you don't have the fight in you, or are leaving a marriage that is dangerous or unhealthy for you, or you are the one being left? Divorce is rocky ground. We have all heard the stories of divorces that are filled with anger and animosity. Couples who used to love each other fighting in court for the kids or the house, or the money. Divorce can destroy us, or make us stronger. Unfortunately, neither partner has complete control over how the divorce will go. And there are some factors that can make the process complicated. Children. Assets, both physical and monetary. Fees. Emotions. Divorce involving children is dangerous ground and should, if possible, be navigated with the help of a family therapist or spiritual counselor. Young children do not experience the disintegration of a marriage the same way the parents do. Even if kids are regularly exposed to arguing, fighting, and sometimes even abuse, they continue to have hope. Even in situations where a parent chooses divorce for the good of the kids, they will be traumatized by the loss of the family as a whole. This makes any divorce with children involved a very delicate situation, and, as parents, it is the adult's job to gauge what is best for their kids and work toward that goal. Always remembering that the children love and need each parent, and are being forced into an uncomfortable and devastating situation they had no say in. Money in divorce is the secondary main fighting point and the first when kids are not involved. Many decisions are best made outside of the courtroom. Like who gets the house? How will the savings account be divided? How are the personal belongings divided? There are many states that rule divorce at 50-50, meaning everything is divided equally. This judgment often causes couples to sell their home in order to split the profit, or for the savings and investment accounts to be split equally. Even if one spouse had been contributing longer than the marriage, it is safest for both parties to speak rationally and empathetically with the other to come to mutual agreements regarding all aspects of the marital assets. Attorney fees can be astronomical for divorce, and the more the couples argue, the more the attorneys will make. This is, again, why entering into a divorce with as much compassion for the other as possible will be best for each party. Which leaves us with the primary bullet for divorce: emotions. Once we have made it to the divorce stage, we are already emotionally drained and aggravated equally. We may feel betrayed, hurt, angry, and disappointed. We are likely grieving for the loss of the marriage and all the dreams it represented for us, as well as feelings of rejection for the loss of the love we believed we had. Rarely do marriages end because two people just stop loving each other. There is usually a catalyst that pushes one or both to a breaking point, and built-up damage that makes us feel that there is no other way out. In many ways, we get trapped into the divorce decision. The emotions that swirl around us when we divorce are the primary reason that divorces become so vicious. It is the desire to hurt back, the fear of losing more, and the grief of losing the marriage. There are some important steps to consider as soon as divorce is mentioned, even before a conversation occurs. 1. Have I done everything I can to keep my marriage alive? And is there anything else I can do to save it? This is an important question whether you are the one requesting the divorce, or whether your spouse has requested it. We enter marriage believing it is forever, And rarely do we stop loving someone enough to really want that to end. So looking back at the marriage and analyzing your efforts can sometimes lead to a change of heart. An understanding that there is more that can be done. 2. How do I really feel about my spouse? It is necessary to look past the anger and hurt. To realize how you actually feel about your spouse. Try to reconnect with how you felt about them at the beginning of the marriage. It's important for us to acknowledge, honestly, how we feel. I hate him is easily broken down into I love him, but I hate the way he makes me feel like I don't matter. Even if the behaviors that caused the divorce will never change. The attitude you use when interacting can come from a more honest and logical emotion. This video will help you find empathy and give you a way to decrease the negative feelings as much as possible when actually dealing with your spouse. 3. What is my primary emotion about the divorce? Acknowledging how you feel about the divorce can give you clarity. You may feel relief, loss, anger, disappointment, failure, or a mixture of many emotions. Once you understand how you feel, you can break down the emotion and find a way to cope with it, thereby controlling it. If you have followed the steps provided in this video, you will already know if there is more you can do to save the marriage, and how you feel about your spouse. These 3 emotions combined leave us these options. I've done everything I can, I love my spouse, and I'm upset it's over. I've done everything I can, I dislike my spouse and I'm relieved that it's over. I could do more, I love my spouse, and I'm upset it's over. 1. How do I want to handle speaking to my spouse? Words can either hurt or heal. Negative interactions breed hostility, anger, and revenge. No matter what position you are in, finding a way to deal with your spouse respectfully and honestly is paramount. These options will bring you to an emotional conclusion. In most divorces, the bitterness that arises comes from hurt and sadness, which emerges as anger. If the marriage is really over and there is nothing you can do to change that, it is in your best interest to behave logically and respectfully. Anger is a cover emotion. It is what we use to protect ourselves from being vulnerable and hurt. And it is the emotion that gets us into the most trouble. Use these tools to identify the emotion beneath the anger, and work from that emotion instead. The outcome will be more positive. And even if the outcome is primarily controlled by your spouse's angry behavior, you won't make it worse and can feel satisfaction in handling yourself with class. 2. Where do I want us to be in 2 years? Do you still enjoy some things with your spouse? Do you hope to be friends or to never have to see them again? Are there children involved and what would be best for them? Do you have mutual friends? Do you want to live in the same area? Picturing a future helps us cope with the present, and deciding what kind of relationship you want to have with your spouse after the dust settles will help you begin to heal and move on. 3. What is the best approach to my situation? If you and your spouse cannot be in the same room without screaming at each other, it may be best to have lawyers do all the work. If there are children involved, it is best to learn to deal with each other kindly. Each situation is different, and the choice needs to be made based on your individual case. One thing stands true for all situations though: a deliberate decision on how to deal with your spouse, and the situation will give you control of its direction. To be continued. Like, share, comment. Subscribe to Total Transformation channel.